Hello friends, and welcome back to another vlog. Last week I asked you guys in the vlog to put down your commentary below on what you guys thought I should work on and showed you my board. Surprisingly to me, the vast majority of you guys were like, hey, keep working on small projects, and I'm like, really? Okay, I am down to do that. Kind of just below the amount of people who voted for that voted for me to fix Amber's corsets. We ran into a snag about that, and I'll tell you about that in just a second. So that's not really a project anymore. Now it's going to be a new corset. And then right behind that was my doing the white stays, which you are all right, like, does need to happen. And it does need to happen soon. So that is a project I will work on probably when I get back from Disneyland trip. Let's talk about Amber's corset. Okay, so I opened up the bag and I had a look at it, and I actually recorded all of this, which you guys don't even need to see because it's a bunch of TDM that isn't going to be applicable. So I'm like, why even show it to them? I'm just going to tell them about it real quick. So I asked Amber, hey, are your measurements still what they were then? And she's like, oh God, no. And I'm like, okay, we've all been through a pandemic, cool. What she had done was essentially the back panels, which were already grommeted, which was great. She had the front panels done with the busk inserted even, and then just a section of the, like the side panels were all done and put together, but those three sections were separate from each other. So all I would have really had to do to finish it is put the sections together and then run boning channels, bone it, and bind it, and it would have been done. However, at the time, her waist measurement was 29 inches, and the corset waist measurement was 24 inches. And I'm like, she's not that large, and she's not that squishy. So that amount of waist reduction didn't seem like a thing, even then, and certainly not now with her new measurements. So I decided, after thinking about it for quite some time, I also was like, this could be better in so many different ways. Like, after looking at the corset, I was just like, oh. So I decided what I'm gonna do is actually just make her an entirely new corset. I've worked with that pattern before. She only had one adjustment, which is to lift by an inch on the sides and taper it down. So, and I have that instruction, so I can do that definitely on a larger size, so that won't be a problem and everything. But I do want to like order some better couture for that. The one that she had started was just natural couture, which I do have here, and in fact there is some still even in that packaging. I could have made a pretty similar one, but they had embroidered the front, which I'm not going to do. But also I'm like, I get it, when you're going to make a corset for the first time, you probably want to just have it be couture, because you don't want to like risk using your nice fabric on something that may not fit the best, because like your first one is not always the best. Although my first corset ever is the one that I prefer to wear always. It is by far the most comfortable because it was fit really well to me. So anyway, what I decided to do was go get some better couture, some like pretty stuff. So I'm gonna make her a corset. So that is on the list. I have moved that down to here to get it in the queue for her, and I'm gonna order some couture and make her that probably right after I make my stays. Okay, so a lot of you also were like, hey, you found a bunch of stuff when you cleaned out your drawers, you should finish that stuff. So I did in fact put finished mitts, so the Regency Reticule. I think those were the only things that I found that I'm actually like willing to work on. The rest of it was like embroidery stuff that I have no interest in doing that right now. That's also I don't even know what I was doing then kind of thing. So like, I'm not putting that on the board. So I do have a bunch of small things I can take care of here, and I think I'm super down to do that. I actually only have a few days to sew this week because I got a little derailed by the whole Amber thing. Like, I had to go back and forth with her, and that took like a whole day to start, and I was like thinking that was going to be the video this week. It was not going to be the video this week, so I lost a day. And then we had a minor emergency at home that we dealt with, and everything's fine, nothing's wrong. But yeah, I definitely lost some time there. So I only have a couple days anyway, so I think I can get a lot of those done. So I'm going to like speed run as much stuff as I possibly can on that list off. And then I'll be like trapped into doing a big project. Well, the big project will be the stays and then maybe Amber's corset. So yeah, I think that's the plan going forward, and I'm stoked on it. I am gonna start with the bottom thing on the list, which is finishing a bandana. So I have worn this bandana several times, and only one of you has noticed. Look away if you're offended by drawings of breasts. But this bandana is covered in boobies. And I think it's very silly. It was a gift from Morgan for Christmas, and she also gave me some fabric to make another bandana in black, which also has it. Big reveal, this is my black booby bandana that I am so excited about. Okay, so I put it next to my normal bandana. This is the one I'm always wearing. This is a Snoopy bandana in case no one ever really realized what was going on with it. This is 22 inches wide. This is obviously way bigger. And you can see that they definitely sit differently on my head. So like I have this white one and it definitely comes down longer and stuff. And this is the style that Morgan prefers. I don't have a preference on either one of them, but since I have one that is long, I was thinking about cutting the black one down a little bit so it's somewhere between the two, just to have a mid-range bandana also. And this one isn't finished, so this is like a super quick project because all I need to do is cut it down, iron it up, and then finish the edges. So I'm gonna do that super quick, and the great thing about that is I was just about to put this other bandana in the wash, and as soon as I get this one finished I can put that one in the wash too. So that's why I'm starting with that project. Okay, the other one is 22 inches wide. This one is just shy of 25. I'm gonna cut it down to 23, making this one little nipple tip be this is why this is fun, because you get to play with like nipples. Half of you just left, I'm sure, but this is what's happening. Anyway, I'm gonna cut off basically 1.5 inches of this on each side to make it slightly smaller, and then just finish the edges up. Okay, boobies have been hemmed. I am just gonna iron this in, and then we will have one item complete already. I am learning how to use my rolled hem foot. I am not very good at it yet. I am real bad at turning corners, but I think this is just a practice makes perfect thing. And I can either sit down one day and just do it a bunch of times, or I can just keep doing it on things that don't matter that much, like a friggin' bandana, and then get the hang of it over time. Okay, cool. Buttonhole Sampler. I've been putting that off for a while. Let's do that. Well, what is a buttonhole sampler? Well, let me tell you. I have a machine that has a lot of buttonholes on it, and I frequently have no idea what the difference is between them. So I thought what I would do is exactly what it sounds like. Take a piece of scrap fabric, make it look decent, and then put all of the buttonholes that are on my machine onto this scrap so I can see what they actually look like put them on in order so I know which one they are, so I can see exactly what they look like. So when I have to go to choose, I don't have to do a sample every time like I always do. I was gonna do it on some Merida fabric, but I don't seem to have any scraps of Merida fabric. I think I gave those away to someone, so I'm gonna find a scrap of whatever and put that on that. So here's an example of one I did when I was doing Merida, but these aren't obviously in order, but you can see how useful this is if to just have an example of it. There are 22 like buttons, eyelets, whatever on the machine. So I thought I would go ahead and put them all on here. Everyone's been sending me their thread chicken since I show mine. This is all that was left on, like, it wasn't even on this spool. It wasn't even coming out the top of like the zigzag, you know, through the up and down section of threading. It was like the very last of it. I played thread chicken, but on the top. That was crazy. Anyway, so this is all sewn together. I'm gonna flip it over and press it down and then get to make buttons. Okay, we've already had a catastrophe doing this. It's because I did not fundamentally understand what this second buttonhole was. So I have figured it out, and now I will chop this section off and move on to the section. That's why I made this so long, because I knew that this was not going to be a one and done here. Okay, here's 1 through 8 on here, and they're all done with a 5/8 inch button. This one is a custom size. You have to like sit there and figure it out while you're stitching and like keep, you know, change it when it needs to go. It's basically a manual button. So that's 1 through 8. I'm gonna do through 15 here, which is good because 15 is a weird one. It's a darning stitch. And then the rest of them below, the darning stitch looks like this. I did do a sample of that one. Did I try number 2? No. Did I try number 15? Yes. Because I was like, what is that? This is also 16, which is just like, could you be weirder? I don't know. I mean, it's like obviously some sort of like fixing stitch, but anyway, I'm gonna measure out the next line of them and get started on that. Okay, we have it all buttonholed. I had one error, which was this one, and this is what happens when you try to do an eyelet and you leave your buttonhole foot on instead of putting on F foot like you're supposed to. I'm leaving that as a reminder to myself to not be stupid. This is a buttonhole stitch, and this one's a little off because it's the darning stitch, and it should have actually gone longer, but I ran out of bobbin thread, so it's fine though. So I have some binding, so I'm going to go ahead and bind this whole situation so that I don't have to think about the edges. Okay, we're done. I got binding on it. Did I sit around and hand bind the back down? Yes. Yes, I did. It's okay. It's just how I am. It just makes me more stressed out to do it on the sewing machine, so I just do it by hand. Anyway, this is all done. I'm very pleased with it. It will give me the information I need. There are so many decorative stitches on my machine that, like, it's completely possible someday I'll do a sampler of those, but probably not just yet. So anyway, we're gonna call this thing done. Okay, so I have make a mask on here, so I want a small project to do real quick because it's getting late. I think I'm gonna make a mask. This is my mask that goes with my Amalia jacket. I kept a little bit of the fabric. I have so much of this fabric actually. So I thought I would make a mask out of it. Mask is made. I'm super hype on it. It's huge somehow. I think I need to shrink my pattern a little bit. It's the same pattern I've been using though, so I don't know what happened. But it's real big. I think perhaps I used a smaller seam allowance than I had previously used. Hi, what's going on here, Iron? You're steaming. Do you need to be doing that? No. Right, let's cross this off. Alrighty, so we have to sew up the reticule. There's armhole pads to do, booby crescents, and finish my mitts. These two things are probably like too big of projects for this week, but we'll see how far we get. But I'm hoping to get a bunch of these other little ones done. Okay, it is tomorrow. Booby bandana is on and it feels good. It's a good compromise length. It's pretty long. I don't know if you can see, but we'll try. It covers like my head. So that's still pretty long. But I dig it. It's a new and exciting way to wear bandanas for me, because I'm not used to having super big ones. Anyway, we're gonna do reticule today, which I'm excited about. I have the pattern that tells me what size the outside should be. And I don't know if you can see it, but I have actually like marked the corners. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna iron this whole thing and then I'm going to draw out the pattern on here and cut it. Okay, I had this big plan about what fabric I was gonna use for the inside, but they had already provided it. Actually, this kit is very complete and it has instructions on making the reticule. I was sitting there last night trying to figure out the order of operations. It's already done. Rad. So I have traced off the pattern and then I added a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So I have a sew line and a cut line, which is great. And now I'm just going to follow directions to sew them together. Okay, I have them sewn together, which I am excited about, and then I'm about to attach them to one another. I need to clip the edges so that they can turn well, and then tuck this whole thing in here. Okay, we have the lining sewn in, and it flipped, and I whip stitched the lining shut on the inside. I need to iron right here to get rid of this little line. Unfortunately, there's like pencil marks from where I made register marks in the beginning. You can kind of see them there. Anyway, that's a bummer because they're not coming out. But that's okay, like no one's gonna notice that. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so now I just need to make the drawstring channel, and they did provide me with a drawstring and tassels for the drawstring. And then I think I'm done? Question mark? Cool. That's awesome. Okay, we have a bag. It is together. It has a drawstring that has tassels on it. It has tassels on itself. It is done. I can mark this complete. I can put these instructions and stuff into my file cabinet full of stuff I've gotten from costume college and integrate all these things back into my existence without having to have them in this bag in the drawer. So yay, donezo. Okay, feel free to mock me, but I have these mitts, and that's the thing I'm gonna do is literally one seam on either one of them, just backstitched along. I'm gonna go to the couch and I'm gonna do this with my husband and we're gonna watch a Free Guy. I'm a person who has mitts. I need to iron off this line and then run the sticky paper over it because it got covered in cat hair, and cut this down just a little bit so that there's not so much seam in here, and then we will be all done with this project, which is yay. I am, as per usual, having a major allergic reaction to my own cats. Cool. We did watch movies last night. We watched Free Guy, which was pretty good. Would recommend for a feel-good, silly movie. One of my friends described it as like Ready Player One adjacent, and I would agree with that. So if you're into that kind of movie, definitely that. And also Ryan Reynolds, is that his name? Yeah, Ryan Reynolds. Uh, not Deadpool level Ryan Reynolds, but like fun guy Ryan Reynolds. It's the movie for you. So that was cool. And then we watched Nightmare Alley. I have so many thoughts about this. Okay, so if you don't know what that is, it is a neo-noir movie directed by Guillermo del Toro. It's up for Best Picture. It's a remake of a 1940s movie that is based on a book. So, and it's about a guy who joins a carnival after a mysterious incident in which you see him burning down a house with a body in it, and then things ensue. So Rooney Mara is in it, and Bradley Cooper and Kate Blanchett and like a whole bunch of other people are in it. It's well done. I will say that. Like, I understand why it's up for Best Picture. It's not something I wanted to watch. Like, I was watching it the whole time going like, why am I watching this? So I started stitching these then. So it's, I mean, it is called Nightmare Alley. It's not like a horror movie or anything like that. It's definitely a noir film-ish, but like the subject matter is just like wildly uncomfortable all the time, and it like I'm used to Guillermo del Toro uncomfortable, but this was like, I don't know, I'm not into like carny stuff like that. No, I get like weirded out, and then it got weirder and not my jam. Anyway, it was technically brilliantly made. So if you are into that kind of thing, go forth. It will be a great movie for you. I just was like, no, this is not how I want to spend my fun times, especially like when the world is being ravaged right now and blah blah blah, and I'm just like not here for it. So yeah. So today I will finish up these mitts real quick, and then I have dinner with a friend and we have to buy our plane tickets for New York, so she's coming over and we're gonna go get some food and bring it back and eat it and book some plane tickets and stuff like that. I might have time for a build tonight for something, and if so, it will be, what am I thinking? Oh, the armhole pads. I need to do a research project before that because I have a picture of armhole pads that Lori Tavin made, and I think I want to make ones like that, so I need to go find that picture, and it is buried from like 2.5 years ago. No, actually, I think two years exactly ago, in my phone. So I have to do some archaeology in my phone for that. So I'm gonna go do that real quick and finish these mitts, and then we will have food, and then we'll see what we have time for later. Here's my cute little mitt. It's on. The other one is the same. I have trimmed it down, gotten rid of the blue line, de-haired it, although there is some hair that's like sewn into the seam. But yeah, it's all done. Hello, guys, I'm having the worst allergy day. It's so bad. Like, I have spent all day nursing my eyeball. Woo. I have allergy meds in me and it's still like puffy and it's not good. Anyway, I think I'm gonna do like one more thing for this week and then we're gonna call it good, and I'll edit this vlog and put it up for you because I am getting ready to go to Disneyland and it's time to put a video up, so I think that's what's gonna happen. I am thinking I'm going to make the armhole pads What are armhole pads, you ask? So I always have this problem, and I'll try to find a picture of me in any Victorian costume where this happens, but like there's this giant crease that happens like right here. And it's common. It's because you like dip in like from your shoulder, like your body kind of like is concave. Yeah, I do have a YouTube shirt on. Get over it. It actually has my costuming drama. Like a walking billboard. I bought this as like a gag to wear to costume college for our meetup, like the first year that we were doing costume meetup. This year at costume college, by the way, Christine and I are going to teach CosTube. Like we're gonna talk about CosTube for a little while. I think we have like an hour and a half long class on Saturday. Anyway, come if you want. I do think we'll have a Q&A at the end, so if you have questions and stuff, we'll answer them for you. But now I'm like, oh, I could wear this shirt to that. Although I think probably people who are at that probably already follow me. But I guess maybe they're there to see Christine and they don't, so I can just advertise for myself. It's fine. It's probably a great thing to wear around costume college all day on Saturday. What was I talking about? Arm pads. Okay, so there's that weird like thing that happens right there, and I was talking to my friend Lori about how annoying that is, and she's like, oh, I have a solution for this, and she shows me this thing, which I will put on the screen here for you, which is like an arm pad. And you just like make this pad, and then you sort of like whip stitch it into the inside lining of your costume, and it essentially like puffs that section back out slash doesn't let that wrinkle happen. I don't know. So I thought I would try it. I drew it on my board so we can dissect the parts of this that she did. And that doesn't mean that that's what mine's gonna be, but I'm gonna try it and we're gonna see. So this is like a proof of concept for me. Like, I don't know if this works. She says it works. I don't know that mine needs to be this big. We're gonna find out. Okay, so like hers are 4 inches wide, which I'm like, okay, I don't know that it needs to be that wide, but sure. This part is 3 inches and this part is 5 inches. It's 5 inches across to like basically like here, and then this is like 10 inches on hers, and it's because you're like, this math doesn't add up, Noelle, and I'm like, I know it doesn't add up. It's because this actually like puffs out a little bit and gets wider. And as you can see from the pictures that I will put on the screen again for you, it's like lightly quilted and very it's like puffy, but it's not very thick. So I thought I would at least sketch out like a test one and stick it on me to see if it sort of fits in that crevice right here. I also think that I have costumes that are like very open in the front. Like Merida is very open in the front, and there's no way you could stick that's that wide there. I don't, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you totally could. So I'll have to try it, and I probably will have to make one in black and whatever, but I'm just gonna try one to see if this even works for me. And hopefully that will happen, because at least for photos, it will make the photos a lot better. So yeah, I think I'm going to use linen, because typically you're hot in a costume anyway, and it's going in your armpits, so And then I have all this cotton batting that I've been meaning to take downstairs, and I've been avoiding taking it downstairs because I need it for this project. So I am going to make it out of just a couple pieces of linen. I'm going to see if I have some scrap linen that I could maybe use, and then stuff it with some gradiated, like so it gets smaller as it goes out from my armpit, I guess, area. Yeah? Okay, we understand that? Okay, so I'm gonna make it gradiated so that it like gets thinner and sort of like just becomes linen at the edges, I guess. And we'll see if this works. Who knows? We're gonna try it. This is experimental costuming for me. No, don't know if this is a thing. We're gonna find out. Okay, here's what happened. I drew it out like a blocky style, like just straight numbers at first, and then I used a French curve to smooth out some edges. I've drawn it at both. This one's always 3 inches because that's just like, that's a lot to be under my armpit. And I'm looking at maybe making this one 3 inches. I've cut it up, or I've drawn it at both. I'm gonna cut the big one and see how insane big this is, but man, I don't know. That seems really huge. Like, it's just wider than my hand, and I have giant hands. So I'm like trying to put my hand up next to my chest going, wow, that's a lot. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna cut out the big one, see how it feels and what it looks like, and then decide what I want to do. It is nearly impossible for me to hold this and show you where it goes, but it's kind of like in here. Right there. So I understand why this is this wide. It would not work for Merida for sure, but I don't know. I'm gonna build it. I'm just gonna build it and we're gonna see how it goes. That's how this is gonna roll. I also only have black linen available, so we're making it black. That's how this works. Cool. Okay, I've cut out one of these. Please note, I've only cut out one. I will of course need to have made two by the time I wear this item, but this is a proof of concept sort of situation, so I want to see how it's going. So I traced it and then I cut out a little extra so I can pinking shear it around the edges. So this part right here, I'm going to cut out I think 2 layers of batting that just go the entire size of it, which is cool. Maybe slightly bigger than it so it gets caught. And then I'm going to layer in a piece that's like maybe some part of this part right here, not the part that goes under my arm because I don't need anything else under there. But just maybe that comes down and around, and then maybe build up one more that's, you know, right in the zone of what I need. So I'll make a sandwich out of ones that are the full size. So I'll go full size, slightly smaller, slightly smaller, slightly smaller, and then full size again with linen on either side. And I think that should give me like a thicker pillow right here where I need it, and thinning out towards the edges. Okay, we're gonna make a little topographical map sandwich. All right, this guy's cut just slightly bigger than the cut line, so I have to make sure to come in a little bit. This is where my arm goes. This is the bottom, and here is inside my armpit. So we've got the bottom layer, and then we're gonna lay down a thickening layer right here. And then another one right here. So we're all the while trying to like keep this bump getting like, it's like a topographical map. Like I said, it's gonna get sort of thicker and thicker, like right where that crease forms, which is like somewhere right around here. So maybe even moving this down just a little bit, just to keep like the bulk of the strength right where that crease would be. And then I'm gonna lay another one of these right over it. This has the stitch line marked on it. And then I'm gonna go ahead and just like whip stitch through here a couple of times just to tack it. And then essentially I'm gonna sew this whole thing down. Pillow sandwich has been made and I'm gonna go sew. It looks like a Christmas stocking right now, which I find amusing. Okay, we're all done. It is black on black again, pinned to my shirt here so you can see sort of how it sits on me. It fits in my armpit really well. It does feel like firm right here, so I'm pretty sure if I stitch this loosely onto a garment or even just pinned it in, it would hold that flat. So I'm pretty pleased with this, and I will go ahead and make another one of these. Okay, so I'm probably going to do that off camera because I would like to finish this, edit it, and give it out to you, and I need an hour to do that or whatever that I don't want to spend right now, frankly. So I'm going to call the video here. Let me mark off the arm pads thing. It's kind of a lie because they're not actually done yet. One of them is. Okay, so that was for you, and this is for me because this is the thing that makes my little brain stop worrying. I guess I don't really need this anymore either since I have... Here, you get to watch me erasing. Aren't these great YouTube videos I make, guys? Anyway, here's where we are. I'm gonna, of course, move this stuff up so that it's in a better position. But I am feeling pretty good about that list. Like, it's nice and short, so that's awesome. Okay, so next week, actually in 2 days from now, I'm going to Disneyland. And then I'm going to go to San Diego. I have not decided if I'm going to film or not. I will be gone for, I think, over a week. So that means you will either get a video that is about going to Disneyland or like random stuff in San Diego, or you will not get a video. I haven't decided yet, and I'll decide when I'm on the road. So maybe see you next week and maybe not, depending on my like urges to film or not. Sometimes I'm just like nah, and sometimes I'm like heck yeah, let's do it. And so I'm trying to listen to my body about that. Anyway, as always, I would love it if you leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you're reading, what you're listening to. I am now watching season 2 of Discovery Witches, the one that everybody's into because it's all the costumes. They're all Elizabethan costumes, which is not an era that I am like particularly into, although I do have to say that those costumes are, they're over the top, I'll give you that. I wouldn't say that they're completely historically accurate, although they're close enough, I guess. but they do have some pretty things in there. I'm not a ruffs kind of girl though, so I'm sure my friend Constance is like over the moon about it because she loves a good ruff. Do I love it? What I can say about Discovery of Witches is that I watched the show before I read the book, and then I read the book, and then I watched the show again. And the second time I watched the show, I was like, I have never seen this show before. It was like I had never watched it. It was completely different now that I had listened to the book. And I don't know why it was completely different, because it follows the book almost exactly. Like there's not that much stuff in it that's different. There's less like weird emotional going on and on and on about how much she's into this vampire and how much she loves him and how much she needs, shut up. Anyway, there's less of that, so the show is kind of better in that way. But yeah, I'm listening to book 3 of the series, and I am 2 chapters in and I can't get any further because I am bored out of my mind. But I will be traveling soon and I will have a bunch of time where I'm like up later than my friend, I'm sure. And so I'm sure I'll listen to the rest of it while I'm down there. So that's where we are with Discovery of Witches. I've been re-listening to a bunch of podcasts lately. I've been watching anything else now. I think I told you about Free Guy and the other movie that I watched. So that's about it for that. We're gonna go to Disneyland for 2 days. We have tickets to Villains Night, which should be fun. That might be a reason to vlog if I can, although it'll be dark. I'll just be showing you like random villains maybe. But Villains Night should be fun, so I'm into it. And then we're just gonna go hang out in San Diego. We are gonna go to the safari park, so I might film there too. So the chances are good that there might be a video. It might not be on time, but there might be a video. Anyway, I don't actually have a return ticket home. So I don't know when I'm gonna come home. There's nothing wrong at home. I just was like, I don't know if I want to come home earlier, if I want to stay to the maximum that I can stay. So we'll see how it goes. I'll probably come home at like Friday, but I can stay until Monday if I want to. So just sort of like depends on me and my friend and how we're feeling about stuff, and like, do I miss my kitties and whatever. So I'll be home at some point and then I'll start sewing again, and I think I'm gonna hit up those stays. That's the thing that I want to get done. So yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a great week. Let me know how you're doing. Slavo Ukraine. I still wake up every morning, and the first thing I do, the very first thing, is I make sure Zelensky's alive. That's what I do. And as morbid as that sounds, it's the only thing that lets me like move on with my day at this point, because I don't think the entirety of Ukraine depends on that guy staying alive, but I just kind of need him to. So that's what's happening right now. I am glued to the news a lot. Like, that is something that's happening. I bet you guys are too. Anyway, I will see you guys sometime in the future within the next week or 2. Alright, leave a comment down below and like this video if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys!